conflicts with, traffic and. Yeah, what's the best way to go home from here?
Well, from here, Cold will take you through to Pleasant.
Okay. Let's turn off our mood music. I hope no one's falling asleep. Alright. So you all have an agenda there. Alright, so we're going to try to stick with that so everybody can be out here by 4. We won't have you here all day. What time is it? If you ever want to know what time it is, you can look at the pink circle up there and get the most accurate time. That's my cue to hurry up in his book, so I'm not late. I'll respect that. So, thank you all for coming. We have
Thank you.
Ms. Tuari.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Today I'm happy to tell you that we have started our 3rd year as a nonprofit organization, and we've celebrated our success of our first summer STEAM program. All of you and many more communities here in this beautiful town of Fort Mill helped us have a successful program. You genuinely care and invested time, effort, and money into our future of Paradise. Before starting our program, I would like to introduce our Education Director, Ms. Elkins, to begin our moment of silence.
So let's have a moment of silence in remembrance of 9/11.
Amen.
Okay, I would like to introduce Daniel Watts. He's going to open with prayer.
Father God, we just want to come before this afternoon to give you thanks. Thank you, Lord God, for life, health, and strength. Father God, we just thank you for just being in your presence, Lord God. Thank you, Father God, for all those people who came, Father God, to dedicate this place to you, Lord God. Father God, I pray that it will be used, Father God, for our community, Father God, and used for the purpose that it was purposed for, Father God. Father God, I pray for each individual. I pray, Father God, that you would give them mercy, Lord God. I pray, Lord God, that you would give them grace, Lord God. And Father God, bless them with all the blessings you see that they need, Father God, and that we need, Lord God. For you know what we need even before we ask, Lord God. Lord, I just pray, Lord God, that this facility will be open and pleasing to you and used for your glory and for your purpose, Lord God. If you do that for us, we'll be so careful to give you the glory, honor, and praise for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, so now I'm going to walk through the purpose and give you a summary of what's been going on. And if you have any suggestions or things you want to leave with us, you have a notes location on your agenda, and we might need some pens. But for housekeeping purposes, we have a restroom to the left, so we'll call that wing A, go all the way down, it's on the left. And there's a restroom here, we'll call this wing B, go on down and make a right. So there are 2 restrooms, no matter your gender, no matter your status in any type of way, the restroom is for you. All right, so welcome and thank you. All right, so As you know, we had our first STEM program, so these were our flyers that we communicated before, and then our program that we initially set up, the structure of it, and, we've been pretty active on Facebook with, a lot of what we're doing, and we're trying to now, kind of spread out and provide more information on more platforms as well as snail mail. So those are some ways we're gonna try to improve our communication efforts. So again, thank you everyone. And you have this, so we're gonna go ahead and go through the presentation with all of this pertinent information. All right, so HPF started an 8-week summer program June 21st for the Children in Paradise. And it began at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. most days. Some days it would last longer depending on when parents could come get their children. The children didn't want to go. They were having so much fun. We were also a public feeding site through York School District 1. And so we were able to provide healthy food for children ages 2 through 18 as well as anyone who has a disability. We also supplemented snacks and food with generous donations from all of our neighbors using our sign-up genes. And our anticipated outcomes included up to 60 children. So we wanted to serve 60 children in some capacity, whether we fed them twice a day or whether we educated them during the day. And so as far as meeting those goals, we definitely met those. We also took them on field trips so that we could get them acclimated outside of the community more, because that's also an educational experience that a lot of children need to have, especially when they are from underserved communities. So, but we had 61 originally sign up, and 8 children were pulled out. Well, they never started. Once the parents realized that this was targeting Paradise, so they kind of felt like, oh, we don't want to take a seat from someone who really needs it. So those 8 children never did appear. So all of our work is dedicated to self-sufficiency. We want the community to be a more self-sufficient community. It once was a very thriving community, lots of businesses, and so much support from within the community. So, and everyone took care of one another. And we have a growing elderly population, I would say a strong elderly population. But of those elderly, they've been slowly and in some areas quickly fading away. They were the ones who took care of us and showed us the way. And they were the ones who were always involved. They lived civics. And so as they started to, pass away and so on, or go into nursing facilities and, where they couldn't care for themselves, we ended up with another large population who couldn't afford to live in Paradise or Fort Mill. So a lot of people left. A lot of people never came back. Some who came back, such as me, I saw some things going on and I'm like, come on, we can't let this happen. So much is growing around us. So we came up with the idea of how can we reach self-sufficiency, and we realized that we could do that through our 4 pillars. So these are some areas where we're currently working and we're trying to keep families self-sufficient or teach them. Home improvements, you see Ms. Dawn right there, Presbyterian, she's with Presbyterian, and they have been Philadelphia, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Philadelphia United Methodist Church.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone else is Presbyterian. All right. Anyway, yeah, so they've been helping with home improvements, and even if you think about the little things as far as, okay, if my home has better windows or an HVAC system so that I don't have to pay $700 electric bills every month, Some people have that in rent or a mortgage, but some others have that in an electricity bill because during was it winter or summer that those bills were that accessible? Yeah, and so those are some serious issues that shouldn't affect anyone in this day and age with so many, energy efficient products and systems. But if you are really trying to take care of your basic needs, then you just kind of survive through it and figure out later how to make it happen. But they can lessen their bills by just having some energy efficient systems, to have better windows, to have holes repaired so the air is not leaking out. So a lot of the homes haven't been aren't receiving updates, and some people it's just a matter of where do I go to get that. So we want to serve as that hub to say, okay, we know people. Habitat, we distributed applications, and some brought them to us, some took them to Habitat. Ms. Dawn went house to house to our most vulnerable, which are the elderly, and they passed out applications to help people. When we also think about child care, when I first came back from Chicago and I had to pay $800 something a month for child care preschool, for pre-K, I was really offended, because I didn't expect that, and so, but if you have, let's say you have 3 kids and you gotta work, if you don't work, then you might have more money than if you did putting on 3 in daycare just so you can work. So it's those type of solutions that we're trying to provide so they can put money back into the home so that the parents can work without this crisis. If someone in the community is babysitting and something happens, then you have to leave work, So we don't want them to have those distractions or emergencies and crises. We want them to stay at work, have a whole place that has a system, a safety plan, meals, everything that they need to take great care of their children. Wellness, so budgeting, healthy living options, we want to enhance and enrich their lives. You can live longer if you have access to, a way to exercise, ways to eat healthy without, really spending all of your income. So we want to be able to continue having partnerships with locally grown vegetables and fruit. I know there's the food share, where people can get a box of fresh fruit and vegetables for $15. If you go to the grocery store now, you get a pound of blueberries. How much are they? $5, right? Mm-hmm. So the cost of everything has shot up. So it's cheaper to buy the junk. It's cheaper to, it's more accessible to go to places that do not have a lot of those options. So especially when you already have transportation issues, financial issues, and other things, then you're gonna go where you can go and you're gonna try to stretch it out for survival today. But we wanna continue to educate for how we can make it stretch. Or if they get SNAP benefits, what do they pay, $5? $5 for the SNAP benefits to be able to get that same box that others are paying $15 for. But we want to teach you how to take those boxes, how to make meals that can stretch, how to do food prep. And we want to make sure that we can provide those options locally or give them access to those who can provide that for them. So we have this facility, we have resources, we want to continue connecting the dots, like all of these dots here, to make homes more self-sufficient. Education. If you normally drive past Steel Street Park during any given day, especially in the summer, you normally see a lot of children out there and no adults. Well, the old system where there were always eyes, people taking care of one another's children, we could go out there and play. You better believe somebody's on the porch watching those children. So if you do something, everybody's gonna know. And so we had that fear for one, but we also had supervision in different respects. Children now, even though someone may be on the porch, they may do something. And then what? Now my child didn't do that, or whatever the case is. Things go on, and children need supervision, or they will lean on their own understanding. We provide child care and education without the judgment. So we can say, okay, while you're here with us, everything that we can do for you, we're gonna provide. We're there in the community. We vetted the situation. We know the families. We know the households. We know the histories. And even knowing that, we're still gonna provide for you and your children, because it's not about us, it's about them. So when we provide those things like adult supervision, healthier meals that are culturally acceptable, education and STEM activities, the children were really excited. Even if they knew nothing, they would come up with something creative. Right, Doug?
No.
Mr. Doug volunteered this summer, and he had the little people, right?
Yep.
He kind of said he needed a different job, volunteer job, and so we got him.
That wasn't my calling.
But there are a lot of people like Doug who want to help, and that might not be your calling, but it's something else that we can have you do. So, you know, if you see areas that need your assistance, that's what we want. That's what we need. So everybody can go in and try to work with kids, you know, right, Ms. Elkin? We're teachers. We know how kids are. We know we are masters of children and the psychology of children. Everyone else may not have those strategies. So we want to diversify the people who encounter these children. We want to provide trauma. We want to provide, because like I said, when they're out in the park and they're alone, playing with no adult supervision, who's listening to those conversations to make sure that they're corrected? Who's listening to find out what other bigger issues they have that could be met? And so when we provided our summer program, we also realized that there was another need even after providing these things. We had children who needed, some underwear, socks, shoes, clothing, and they were very grateful for everything. They were adopted, each one was adopted, and someone went school shopping for them. Guess what? That put money back into the family's household. That money could be used to now take these 3 to the barbershop, take those 2 to the hairdresser, or whatever the immediate needs are for them to go and learn in a safe environment. Because they do get teased. They do become traumatized from the teasing and so on. Some feel bullied, and we know that the days of the dozens are no longer here. These kids nowadays have different pressures. So like the dozens when maybe we were younger is what that's called. The ridiculing and all of that. Those were called the dozens. And it was an acceptable form of entertainment. And so when we think about these type of things, kids of today can't handle the dozens. They might can dish it, but they cannot handle it. They can't receive it. You laughing, Mr. Coach? Why you laughing? Because you know, they're sensitive, aren't they? Oh, do not talk about his shoes. Do not talk about his clothes. Do not talk about his mixed. They're in their feelings. So, all right, so some ways we measured outcomes and indicators of success. Well, for one, we had challenges. Funding always, because we are a 501c3 recognized charity. So we're always looking for funding. We were looking for space because, we were on top of each other. We were creating space where there was no space. We were spreading outside. And once they get outside, the rules change. When we have them cooped up, they can't go anywhere because they're cooped up. But you let them outside and it's like, oh, they take off. They might run around the building. And they have energy. They have a lot of energy. So, so we needed bodies. We're in that gig working economy. So people want a gig. They don't want a career. Some people do. Some of us need a career because we have responsibilities. But a lot of people don't want a career. They're looking for a gig. I'm looking for something that pays right fast and right now, and I can do it, and then I can pick up whatever I want to do tomorrow. I don't have to do the whole dressing up and whatever, So we realized that as COVID has, really wreak havoc around the world, it's also wreak havoc on the employment system because now people want more freedom in how they work. So, discretionary funding. We need people to share. Some people will have resources and won't even share it. Just like, come on. Let us know about it. So, connections, resources. We need them. Especially now we have this facility. We have a van. We can get them here. We'll bring them here. We can do virtual telehealth visits in those clinical rooms. We can do grief counseling in those rooms. Any kind of whatever that can help with the whole body. Mind, spirit, body, soul, whatever they need, we now have that. So we plan to continue working in this space. So not thinking literally, but in this line of work, we continue to stay here until we can see the change that's needed. It kind of puts me in a mind of how, in the beginning there were natives and then there were settlers and then they coexisted. A lot of the natives died out, but then in the 1800s they had like 100 or so in the Catawba Indians. And then after that, they were able to grow again, but they had different community to be able to make that happen. So they were able to flourish again when they were 15 to 25,000 strong, right? And so now we look at Paradise. Paradise is down to probably about 400 some people in the strong boundaries of Paradise. And so where we once had flourishing businesses, kids everywhere, 6 to 10, 11 children, because I'm from a large family. So I'm telling you just from my aspect, there were a lot of kids. So we want to continue to grow, but we need the resources so we don't end up kind of becoming displaced. And as a result, because if anyone don't know the history, I'm a descendant of Handy White, who was one of the trustees of the Bethlehem Church, the original church that Paradise was built around. And so when I'm speaking about the efforts of Handy White back in the 1800s, and for him to will over 100 acres of land to his descendants, here in Fort Mill, I think about, oh my God, for him to persevere like that when he was once enslaved and to be able to create such a vast, wealth of resources to hand to his family. And then we've dwindled down to not having really a whole lot left. But there was some missing links, education, resources, somewhere in there where people needed access and they didn't get that access. So we want to kind of reverse that and use what we have to make a stronger community, to make it so that people can have what they need and when they need it. So, so we're trying to reverse gentrification. And how do we do that? Those 4 pillars. So we're measuring our work with enrollment, participation, qualitative and quantitative. You look at numbers, it only tells you part of the picture. Talk to some of these families, talk to some of the kids, talk to some of the elderly. You'll see that there's a bigger picture than just the numbers. So that's the part that we do, like wholeheartedly. We do all of the qualitative stuff because we're there working with them. We're there amongst them, celebrating amongst them, mourning amongst them. When one person from the community dies, that affects all of us. And so we're connected in so many ways. And because of us having that background, that helps us have the social equity that's needed to provide the education that's needed. Because someone else can't just come in from I'm driving through and hey, I want to help you. No, there's an approach for that. And the best approach is connect with someone who's from the community, build a relationship, understand the true situation that's taking place. And then how can I help? How can I work alongside you and help? All right, so some of our indicators are growth, enrollment increases where we shot from 20 kids to like 50 something, you'll see in a moment. Satisfaction, parent satisfaction, fewer unsupervised children in the community. If you rode by during our summer program, you probably didn't see any kids out there in the park. I think I saw one little girl, and guess what? She was signed up the next day. Because she was sitting on the curb, and she didn't have anybody to play with. All her friends were with us. So she was signed up. So, and another way that we know indication, that everything is working is because we have fewer requests for. So when there were furniture needs, okay, now people aren't saying, I need this anymore, because we were on it. Like, okay, we have a box truck, we'll bring it to you, but little old Red took a beating carrying furniture and stuff. And so the box truck has been instrumental in helping to carry, large quantities of furniture and so on to people. We also use it for our food boxes. We've seen a decline in those requesting it, and you'll see that in some of the data that I'm gonna show. All right, so future projects, we still wanna expand our economic mobility footprint, and we wanna provide a career spot. We're setting up these 2 rooms for computer literacy, information literacy, job training, STEM, workforce, which is STEM and career technical education is my domain. That's what I do for work. So those are things that I can do in my sleep. And so those are programs that I can easily develop, because I've been a contributor to creating district courses and providing expertise to teachers in 30-something schools. But we'll have a computer lab over here for the public, and we'll have a computer lab over here for the children, so that they have access to the 21st century literacy and someone to help guide them. So we need clinics, banking, and other opportunities for upward mobility. Some things that we see, just some trends, is that we don't see a lot of organizations that's gonna help them stand on their own 2 feet. We don't want them to become kind of dependent upon. We want resources to be available if needed, because if you got it, then you're not gonna go looking for help. But if you know that you can always go, you're gonna continue to always go. We're trying to shift that mindset so that, okay, this help is here if you need it. If you don't need it, okay, maybe that's available for someone else, so that there's not a dependency on getting this or getting that. So we want to have a plan where, okay, in exchange for this, maybe you can volunteer, because we know that's one of the areas where we have a challenge. So let's trade off, and without judgment, like I said. So, go back one and click on that for me. This is my 10-year-old computer whiz. Hit present, please. He'll be providing some computer classes too. All right, so I'm gonna just run through this very quickly, because like she said, we're in year 3, all right? So when we first started kind of out there and we assessed that, we needed something for forever, or at least to get through the issues that we had, we were at a kids camp where there were about 10 organizations who were providing a week-long camp, and we realized that we needed so much more. So in August of 2019, we officially filed for the organization for a nonprofit, and then from there, we just kept going. Having those social events to build social equity, continue building it, conducting needs assessment, providing basic needs. Partnering with coalitions like Eat Smart Move More and other ones, but the town of Fort Mill had an event for MLK. We were able to provide, they provided donations for us. We began applying for external resources and so on. Sam's Club gave us our first official corporate grant. So then we began with the food, Panera. Then we had the food trucks. And then while we had them at the food trucks, because remember when I said about culturally acceptable meals? They like to eat what they like to eat. So the best thing we can do is know that and plan with it in mind. So when we had the food trucks out there with chicken and stuff, and then we were able to shift the type of food, because we had them in. We had them. Once you get that food truck, okay, I was the first one who wanted my chicken or fish. I'm just telling you now. So then we were able to shift to like chicken salad sandwiches and stuff, because they have to trust who's cooking. You do not eat anyone's cooking. And that's one of the cultural decision-making behaviors that, you know, you might get grilled about this. Who cooked this? And where was it? Did you see them cook it? Did you see, and did they have on gloves? Did they, and it's like, how about you come out there the next time? And so we would provide like 125 meals. Oh yeah, I catch it down. So when I talk about that social equity, I could go in there and catch it. And I could say what I need to say, but I still catch it. So, but while we had them there with the food, we signed up who needed to have free meals for that summer. Who needed a computer in the household? Who had Wi-Fi or not? And so then we knew, okay, we're gonna take that and now we'll get it to you. Then we got more resources from Springs, and we found out that about 48% of those who signed up for Chromebooks had Wi-Fi at the time. Guess what? Every single one of them now who we gave a Chromebook has Wi-Fi, because you cannot use the Chromebook without Wi-Fi. You know, like in regular computers, laptops, you might have Solitaire or something on there, Microsoft Word, but a Chromebook needs Chrome. So if they will meet you halfway, but someone has to come up with the strategies for meeting those needs. So that was one way. So creative and strategic planning has been what allowed us to get there. So we then started pushing towards elderly initiatives and more community outreach, school supplies, you know, Greenway memberships. They've been throwing those memberships out so much, people will still not enroll their children. And there are a lot of different factors at play. For one, if I sign you up, I gotta go through this long, exhaustive registration process. Okay, so once I go through that process, I still have to do this. I have to apply for the GAP membership, because that's separate. Then I have to, you know, so it's a lot of, I have to pay an enrollment or deposit or something. So as you think of all the different layers, we had to come up with a simpler process. So we did provide, we linked and partnered with Greenway later to provide after school when COVID hit us, you know. So we were able to connect with them, but we had to simplify that process. You know, this household has 5 or 6 children. We can't run through that whole application 6 times for all the children. Simplify the application process. But that was something we had to do. And so when you find out what's lacking, which it takes the social equity, then you can meet them where they are. And so I know the application process is simpler now, but I'm telling you, I'm tech savvy and I hated it, but I did it. So I can just imagine anybody else like, I'm not going to do that. All right, so we then went through, we brought in youth education services with our after school coat and wear drive. We generated too much clothing and stuff. And so now we're really hoping for more monetary donations versus in-kind, because we don't want to pay for storage. All right, holiday meals. That was a huge success. We provided access for families to get a Thanksgiving box, and they were with $50 from Harris Teeter, and they were really yummy. And they also had, and we delivered them, by the way. We delivered all of those on the red truck. Then the box truck, we got it around Christmas Eve, and we had our toy drive, which connected with other partners as well, signing up. I had to do the entering of every application that came through in this database for United Way. And then there was another one with the Marine Toys for Tots. So we tried to make sure that each family was able to get something for their children. If they missed this deadline list, then you can go with this one. And so, because those are the things, right? If I'm surviving day to day, and I know that, hey, I gotta pay light bill, I gotta go to work, I gotta get childcare, I gotta, whatever, all these other things are, I'm distracted by, then I'm not gonna be thinking about putting the time in completing a paper, even if it is for Christmas, because Christmas is too far away. So, this is what we have to plan around. So, we had, so many in the community, Fort Mill community, provided elderly stockings. A lot of the elderly really love those stockings. You know, with the blanket, with the chapstick, the crossword puzzle, all kinds of stuff that they really enjoy. So, social equity. We were able to meet needs because of knowing what those were. All right, so then, year first, woo! Greenway, they went ahead and provided. I had to go to homes and say, fill out this application right now. Oh, I lost my other one, King. Yeah, and I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes, and I need you to have it filled out. Where I put this person in? Well, let's draw a line. Put this one right here, this one, and then if they had questions, they could email me, the Greenway would, and then I could connect with the family and find out. We got our van. We had to have a lot of mechanical work and stuff done, and cosmetic work, thanks to St. Paul's for being so amazing getting that done for us. We started liaison with the Greenway to support Children for Paradise After School, and we continued with the community giving days. Remember I talked about those donations and things? Stuff was piling up and we needed to get rid of it. You people were dumping stuff like we were Goodwill and Salvation Army, and we definitely don't have that type of support or resources. We started our STEM program. We had the summer feeding, and then we did basketball. And then we continued. All right, so year 3 is where we've just started. And so doing that, project expansion, that's where we are right now, project expansion. So we, when we ended the summer, we let the young men go on a camping trip. The camping trip had to be a socially acceptable camping trip and culturally acceptable camping trip. There are other ways of camping through like Boy Scouts and so on, that some of their training is not where the children are. And so a lot of times they need short-term gratification. So we plan with that, okay? We know you've never been on a boat. We know you've never been tubing. Okay, we know this having a little bromance right here, because we're at step 1. We know that's what it takes. They were life-changing. They had access to a therapist who came on a camping trip, who helped to facilitate, you know, all of the interactions and things. And when I tell you, you know, we really want to continue with those type of things, but we have to have it unique to where the community is and where we plan to go. Building on those successes with dignity is key to that. All right, so we're gonna begin September 20th with after-school programs. October, November, we want to try to phase in some adult programs because we want to maximize occupancy. We want to have programs come in, use the clinical rooms, use the multipurpose room, which, by the way, we've named the Ann Springs Close Multipurpose Room in honor of her and her contributions. We do want to continue with the holiday meals. We want to do some Halloween event, holiday meals, gratitude events, where the children can, you know, provide and make and have events for donors and people who have been amazing neighbors for us. And then we also want to do our Paradise Christmas, do some other like little events where we can have people come from other communities and then, you know, just kind of interact, have like little socials and stuff. So we want to have that, okay? All right, so next, and I know I'm doing a lot of talking. All right, so those were our goals. Strong foundation for STEM literacy hands-on experience, elevate thinking and problem-solving skills, increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in STEM, and provide an equitable learning experience in Paradise community, free to community residents. Now, when you look at enrollment, you clearly see what happened. So, we measured how many kids were enrolled, we measured how many households they were from. Okay, those are two different things because we do have extended families where it may be 3 generations in one household. And some we know it may be 4 generations in that household. So, we measured them separately, but they still show the same thing. That they continue. Is one hear about it? Oh yeah. What do I have to do? And so we made it simple. You have an electronic submission that will then allow for you to be able to come in and sign all your waivers and stuff. So the electronic part was the first part. That's where we capture everything for up to 6 kids. All right, go on. How to need. So we had it. Like, okay, do you want them? So we would take the leftover boxes and we would pass them out to some of the homeless or some of the elderly, because those were some good food options from the canteen with York School District. Traveling. So being right there in the community, most of them could get there. Some had combination, very few, but either someone in the family or the parent mostly picked them up. But we also have been providing bikes. A lot of them have bikes that they can walk or bike to get. They know we have an open door policy. Go get a bike. You need a bike, come get a bike. Because we realized a lot of kids' bikes were stolen. They get them for Christmas, they're looking good, they're riding for a month or a couple weeks, and now their bikes are stolen. So, we have an open bike policy, come get it. All right, Wi-Fi. Now, there was only one household that did not have Wi-Fi. Now, we're looking at the computer issue again, because we have more of the population with a lot of younger children. And so, 41% have a personal computer. Guess what? We're gonna be looking for some Chromebooks, because we know if we get the Chromebooks, they'll get the Wi-Fi. And there are so many resources like Lifeline that Comporium provides, where you can get Wi-Fi either free or like $9.99 or something. So that's where, we work together. Next. Working. Most of them work the shifts we work. Some work second, some work third. So what we're planning to do is we want to have later options, because we have that, especially this shift right here. Or maybe this shift that goes in at a certain time, and having a kid there until it's almost time for them to go to work might be the relief that they need. So those creative solutions, we want to provide access to the care that they need. So we want to provide the later hours, and the later hours will not be free for Paradise. We will have it free up until about 6 o'clock. And then if you need later, then you can pay a fee for being late. And that'll also help, provide an exchange, because we're gonna have to generate revenue. All right, so most of them work. Some could not work, and it's a variety of reasons. Disabled, or maybe disabled children, or, a combination of factors. So, or it's cheaper to stay at home than it is to pay daycare for 3 kids. So, these are the things that we want to help bridge those gaps so that if they're able, they can go. We want to be able to provide options that come here. Career fair. Have a career fair. Come in. Let's do like a speed interview. You go around different ones, 5 minutes, whatever, and you get the practice and hopefully a job by the time you finish. So those are some options we want to bring now that we have the facility, and we can. I'm gonna get you. So we want to provide that, those options, so that we can take away the obstacles. All right. These are some of the things the parents said. Now they've said so much in person though, but yep. So that's that qualitative data. The numbers can't tell you this part. know your kids are safe? Parents were volunteering, and we even started providing stipends, because at the end of the day, more money in the household is more to help support the family. And there's see, and it's, look at, that school shopping, when you think about how much money a lot of parents ended up saving, that's one less thing they have to stress about. Yeah, I'm going to pay that light bill. I was gonna hold off paying that light bill until Duke Energy sent me a disconnection notice. And then have to go to care center because I got the disconnection notice. Now, that can go back in. So, when we think about all of these wraparound services, we can't just help in one area. We need all 4 areas to be able to help get them out of poverty. We have a few, but I'm not gonna go through all of this. But if anyone from the churches want to speak up and say anything, this one is actually St. Paul's. But they wrote a letter on our behalf. You want to say anything since Miss Ellen isn't here?
Who wrote the letter?
Ellen?
Oh, did she?
She's here. She's at the beach.
Oh, okay. What, I don't know.
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. I can let you see what she wrote, and if there's anything, but sorry.
She's pretty sharp.
She is sharp.
Yeah.
She is really sharp.
I know.
For her to be, she keeps me on my toes like a mother. And don't forget to do this. Now, when you have inventory, this and that, you let me know. All right. Anything special out of there if you can't see?
I don't know.
Well, you know she's sharp, so.
This could be one small question and she answers it with paragraphs.
She's on it.
Yeah.
She's so attentive to details.
Yeah, but she was here.
I know, she's at the beach. I wish I was there. All right, next, we have Dawn, Philadelphia United. Oh no, I got them mixed up. And Clark is with Grace. Okay, but go ahead and click KJ. I got them mixed up. But this was the letter you wrote. If you wanted to, if you wanted to say anything, you didn't have to. But
I was just really talking about how impressed. I moved here to Fort Mill about 6 years ago now, and when we first moved here, I'm on the missions committee at church, and I would hear people talk about paradise, and I'm like, well, it seems to be a disconnect between what I think of the word of paradise and what really people were talking about, but I'm an educator, so I was engrossed in everything, and now I'm retired, and I kept looking into it more and more, because in our missions in church, we're always looking for local areas where we can help. And so I kind of watched and got to know Danielle and her family since COVID, and it's just been, she just has an unbelievable talent set of organization and also following through with detail, and I wish I had the energy that you have, but
be careful what you ask for.
But anyways, and your ultimate goals, you've been achieving everything because of your success, and the community is just so lucky to have you. And so my church, we've had, since I've learned about, our church had decided, some of you might have heard of Sakahatchee, and we talked about Habitat, but our church used to fund those programs, help fund them, but at first in January when I started talking to Danielle, COVID was putting everything on hold, and so we started okay, what can we do to help? And so once we got people involved in it, we started reaching out, and so from our church we've had 24 volunteers now, 4 youth, middle school age kids, and we've put in about 130 hours in I think 4 homes now, helping with what the families first said they needed help with, and then just expanding that. And we now have a new pastor, and he's like, this is awesome. So if any of you are like in the community here and have, I'd love to connect with you too, because we have a certain skill set in our church. But like I just went with Reba and Danielle into some homes, some people, and they like gave us a list of things, like they need help with the light bulbs replacing, and one wonderful man says, I've just bought this ceiling fan, I need a new one put up, but I can't get up there, you know, and some people need help with windows and things, so we're just gonna prioritize, and everybody has a skill set, and so just trying to match, or some people are just liking to learn, you know, and can help. Somebody can be a leader, and somebody else can just, what do you need? Okay, I need that screwdriver. So anyways, because of Danielle and her leadership, and many of you here, you know, it's just wonderful, and there's, I'll close, I've been talking too long, but I'll never forget going to, one, person's home, and they kinda, I think Reba was with me that day, when we were handing out the survey, and the gentleman looked at me and said, but we're not used to having people ask us to help us, and what we need help with, and it was like, wow, and it was just really touching. So, anyways.
Anyone
Thank
want
you
to
for
join
all
the
you've
committee?
done.
Yeah, and the Renew Center and Avery Lake, they have a lot of elderly who attend that daycare, who also are looking for projects and have talents. They built that brand new bench for us, and so think about how we can connect with them. I can put you in touch with them too. They built that, I mean, like, it's solid, it's a very nice bench. Yes, all right, so this is like the basics, the skeleton of what our after school will provide, and like I said, after 6, we wanna provide that additional service for them. But as you can see, we have 3 different areas that they're gonna push into: academic, social emotional, and vocational. Because they need academic support always, homework help and all of that. Social emotional, some of us adults need social emotional, so imagine what the kids who can't say they need that needs. And vocational, because this, you know, what we're doing is, it has a purpose, it has an end goal. What are you gonna do later? Because we're gonna need you to take care of us. We have to equip you. So, I wanna have a comfortable life one day when I'm old. And so, we have to equip this generation, or who's gonna take care of us? So, and then we have some other options that we also wanna plan around. So we wanna have different programs that also factor in all of these. And you think about it, if you're giving the supports in these different areas, I mean, you're more likely to succeed in anything you do. We have a strong population with ADD, ADHD. We know that a lot of this is tied to diet too. Think about the nervous system reacts when it's overloaded with sugar, all that. So you think about it. While we're combating other areas, we're also helping to improve the neurotic functions. We have some with learning disorders, but some of those with learning disorders are some of the best builders. So we have vocational. We wanna, you know, just because you may lack right here doesn't mean that you still can't provide. You see, I put this thing up crooked today. I didn't use anything to measure with. Right? Right? I was only off a little bit, and then next thing you know, I slid the ladder down, and that was it. But you know, I have a trained eye from education. Other people can have a trained eye and might not be able to read functional how-tos, you know, so you think about that. Let's build off your strengths. So we want to be able to reach all of our pillars for success, and these are those programs that can help. Award time. Red carpet. I have a lot of awards, and I don't even know if everyone is here from it. But when you hear your location called, and there are others as well, when we think about what happened with the STEM program and how it was made a success, our state rep made some certificates with the state symbol and everything on it, and we had these beautiful plaques made, and it says Historic Paradise Foundation is grateful for you. 2021 Summer STEM Camp in Paradise, 2021 Platinum Sponsor Award, and this goes to Grace Presbyterian. Anyone ever been Grace? I don't know. We have Philadelphia United Methodist Church. We have a picture of our kids on this plaque also, because we want you to think about us every single day. So we want to remind you of our future. Thank you. Remind you of our future. We have the Springs Close Foundation. We have EW Process. Maybe it was a traffic. Carolina Orchids Retirement Community.
I can take that home over.
Come on.
Yeah.
When they say active, they really are active.
Yeah, I'll give it to the right.
I'm sure you're the right person.
Okay.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. St. Paul's Episcopal. York School District 1. You want to take it?
Very nice, thank you.
You want to take it for them?
I can, yes.
You Letitia and them?
Yes.
Okay. Nutramax Laboratories. They also provided funding for the senior meals that Ms. Reba was delivering. That also came from funding from Nutramax Laboratories. 4 Mill Elementary School teachers.
You want me to take it, Dee?
Yes. And Springs Close Greenway. I'll give you that one then. Mount Zion Church of God. Philadelphia United, you got 2 awards. One, yeah, because one was a platinum sponsor and one was a great community neighbor award.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have some people in our church that are bringing some gift bags to you tomorrow, aren't they?
Okay, the hygiene bags and
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Oh my God, see what I'm saying? YMCA at the complex. A lot of awards were delivered. Anyone in the YMCA? At the complex? St. Paul's, you got 2 because you got another one for a Great Community Neighbor Award. You're kind of popular.
I'm glad I came.
I know. Unity Presbyterian Church. And Springs Close Greenway. We have one also for a Platinum Sponsor Award. Fort Mill Middle School. She coordinated all of the teacher volunteers for our after-school homework help and everything. And it was such a, I'll put it in that stack.
That's all
amazing. Here you go.
Thanks.
And we're grateful for her. She gets it. She gets it. And she's even brought some more amazing people to continue the work. And they understand that there are different social dynamics in charity in African American communities. So knowing that, how do you phrase it?
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
You treat.
Oh,
You say you treat like the charity.
oh, I don't want anyone to feel like they're
No. Yeah, say it.
like a charity.
Yeah. So you're not treating people like a charity. And you know, the work that you do, the charity work that you do is alongside. Like I'm partnering with you. I'm not saving you. I'm not like making you to this thing when you're a human like me. So they get it and they work alongside us knowing this, and when they see people who don't have that vision, they actually protect us too. Say, these won't work out, because it'll keep from microaggressions from the unknown. So,
Can I just say that
Yeah.
Kayla and Will were amazing. They
Yes.
were there like day after day, all day long
Yes.
with the kids, and they loved them. The kids were just hanging on them.
oh yes.
You know, they were amazing. So I can't thank them enough.
And she's from Catawba Ridge High School, and they're going to sponsor a donation, a financial donation drive for us, October the 4th through the 8th, I think.
Oh, we don't have a date set up yet, but our club just got approved for that,
Yeah.
so we're starting to plan that next week.
So, she's part of the future who's gonna help change, the mindsets. All right, and to do it so young, some girls have to get old. All right, so, we'll have, you wanna chime in yet? Or, you wanna say anything? Okay, so, we're gonna need another prayer. Who's a great prayer around here? Don, I think you're a great prayer, aren't you? I bet you can pray.
I don't know, with Daniel in the room, I don't know. That's pretty amazing.
He got 84 years experience though.
I'll try. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for providing this wonderful partnership that many of us are engaged in. It's just so fulfilling to work together in partnership within our town, building the community, building a stronger community for the next generation, for our current community, and for generations to come. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, so we have a tour that you can go on, but we can also do a Q&A first if you'd like to do that. Also, if you haven't filled this out and you want to find ways, that is also available. But we do want you to be able to see Wing 1, well, A. And if you see how it's set up, this whole wing can have public access, and we can close that door and secure it so that the kids are in their own little la-la land, because we have a restroom, a break room, we have our computer lab here, we have a social emotional room where we have affirmations and things for, we're not looking to punish. We're looking to redirect with positive options. So a lot of that taps into self, it taps into trauma. So we're gonna have all of that set up like a whole ambiance for. We already put a futon in there. They might be tired. A lot of people act up when they're tired, like get grumpy. How many of you get grumpy when you get tired? Leave me alone. So that's the room for it. So we want to make sure that we are planning with all of those things in mind. And then we have our Daniel Watts visionary room up at the front. That's our boardroom meeting area. So we have that. And we've named this the Eunice Richard Watts soup kitchen, because my grandmother she used to cook for everybody. And everybody always had Thanksgiving or whatever, she cooks, she'll feed you. She don't care whose kid you are. Nobody had any dietary restrictions or allergies. Everybody ate. Right? So everybody get a plate. So we named those with those in mind. we offered, I sent in a grant request for Comporium asking if we can get our computer labs named on their behalf for like a $5,000 donation each room. But we definitely wanna name more rooms and provide more, services with the donations. And, yeah, were there questions and
I have
answers?
a
Yeah,
question.
yes.
So so the kiddos that you're gonna serve, September 20th, I think?
So we're not gonna go to schools and pick them up. They have to, be at the location for us to pick them up, or they can bring them, and like I say, have incentives for bringing and dropping them off. So we're trying to work together with them, because one thing is, we have the van, but sometimes if we only have 2 people here with all the kids, then we may not have someone to go drive. There was a select few who needed transportation, then we can work with that, you know, so, that's the plan. But we are, like I say, Paradise will be able to come for free until 6, and then we also wanna open it up to about 15% of those within, a 2-mile radius or so, cause there are about 4 other childcare centers within a 2 or 3 mile radius. And so, we don't know their numbers, we don't know their situations, but we wanna open it up to those who are impoverished or have difficulties, about 15%, and then 25% for those who just need childcare and can afford to pay something. So those are some tiers we're working out, so that we can serve more and maximize occupancy of the place. And if you haven't noticed yet, we do have Wi-Fi, our password is over there, but even if you don't have it, but you have a smartphone, this is a perfect time to give us some feedback, which you list 3 things you enjoy, and this is anonymous, so you do not have to put your name or anything, but 3 things you enjoy about our programs and what we do, 2 questions you have, 1 thing we could do better, and if there's anything you want us to know, then it goes in that one. That one is not required, but the link is here. It is case sensitive, so that H, P, and F are all capital, and then 1162, because that's our new address. So, when you finish the survey, we invite you to tour and enjoy more food, and then we'll see you around. Thank you all for coming. Hey, we have some cool people back there who, if you haven't registered to vote, because, you want to speak on that, John?
Go ahead, you got it, you know what's going on.
Oh, okay, so if you haven't registered to vote yet, and you're old enough, how old are you? You're old, you registered yet?
I'm registered.
All right, you old enough yet? Okay, but it's coming. Well, these kind of people will be the people who will get you 18 yet? Next year. Okay, so we got you next year. So, we gotta start them young, right? Civics. It's a lifelong experience. You don't just pop in and out. You always. So anyway, they're set up for anyone who needs to vote or update or change or whatever, because you have 30 days prior to the November 2nd election. And since we have a computer lab, we'll also make it available for anyone who needs to come and register electronically versus snail mail, so that they can always, have enough time to meet that deadline. So if anyone needs to know, we are going to be set up our computer lab and other devices for that. So, one-stop shop. All right, feel free to tour, survey and tour, and eat. It's already top 10. I'm telling you.